Okay, so today I was walking down the streets here in Berlin and I found this really interesting art installation. It's another very rainy day in Berlin. I'm about to go back and... Oh! What is happening? I just found this and I'm very confused. Whoa. So I didn't record too much inside because that atmosphere there is so different and so strange. I feel like just talking over it would have taken away from the effect that it has. The music reminds me of a lot of ambient music that I've listened to and some guitar music actually. In the 60s, people like Jimi Hendrix experimented a lot with feedbacks. So I think this installation really gets us to question a bunch of our assumptions about actually a lot of things. But primarily about boundaries, how we define the boundary of what is art and what is not, what is human and what is not, who we can collaborate with and how. I mean, this is an international collaboration and also they call themselves a multi-species collaboration. So it brings us to question how we can collaborate going forward with other things that apart from humans, especially in this changing world in which we'll have to increasingly rely on collaboration with nature and with machinery and new technologies to actually survive as a species. About art, it gets us to question what even is art, because it traditionally is considered something very human, and here Interspecifics is telling us that we can actually make art by collaborating and giving agency over art to things like microorganisms and artificial intelligence. At some level, the things that are being created by these non-human agents are also very similar to art, to music in particular. It has a lot of patterns and motifs that are repeated in different ways, but not exactly the same, so that it doesn't become boring, which is basically what musicians try to do when they're making music. But as much as I love this exhibition and I think it's super creative and super interesting, it's not very accessible for general public. It requires a lot of knowledge, it requires a lot of thinking. It took me a long time and a lot of reading about it to understand what the authors were trying to say and how it connected to the actual installation. It requires a certain level of knowledge of AI and how bacteria work, electricity, photoreception, and also modern art. To just even give yourself time to process this as a piece of art that requires you to challenge your assumptions rather than just looking at something and categorizing it as proper art. I don't think this is something necessarily bad about this installation, but it's something that should be kept in mind. Like, who is the audience of this? So I don't think they could get their message across to most people with it. So yeah, in general, I really like this installation. I'm actually really happy that I derived so many out of it, especially after all this effort. I think that makes it all the more, much more satisfying when you get to something. But at the same time, I wish it was more accessible for more people to enjoy this kind of art. Yeah, so I think that's it for today, and I'll see you next time.